Oh my God, what is happening? What's happening with this? Ugh. God. Good morning. Good morning. It is Saturday. Welcome to Saturday Kitchen Convos, where I talk about what I want to talk about. Oh, so good. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's messy, and sometimes I cry. Anyway, Saturday morning, it is 34 degrees, although it does not feel that way. I think it feels like 27, so we have a little bit of wind chill this morning, and I just got back in from a walk. I went out for like 2.5 miles, and along the way, I stopped and I picked up a croissant. That's for tomorrow, though, and I picked up some Monster, because it's good and I like it. This is the zero sugar energy, whatever. It's terrible. I'm sure it's terrible for you. I don't care. I used to drink like 18 cans of Diet Coke a day, so the fact that like a Monster every once in a while, it's an improvement for me. Anyway, I know what you're thinking. Do you own different clothes? Because every single time I record, I'm always in my CrossFit game sweatshirt, or most of the time. The answer is yes. I have 2 closets full of clothes that I never wear because aside from, seeing my mom a couple times and my best friend and my nephew, like I haven't left my house in 2 years. And so I have a whole closet full of like t-shirts and sweatshirts and comfy things. And then I have an entire closet, I have an entire wardrobe that I never get to wear because we're not traveling for work, and I pretty much just go to CrossFit and that's it. Although tonight, my friend Sarah is in town, and her friend Trisha, so I don't know Trisha, I just know who she is because she's friends with Sarah. Her son is singing in a like Christmas carol thing, so we're gonna go see that. So I have to look to make sure it's indoors, and if it is, I'm going to dress cute. If it's not, we'll wear jeans. But yes, I do have clothes. Maybe I'll show them to you one day. It's not a flex. I just don't want you guys to think that I only own black sweatpants and a gray hoodie, because I don't. And I actually have a Stitch Fix box coming today. So, well, allegedly, it's coming today. So maybe I will do a little unpack / try on haul. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah. But I do like Stitch Fix. So if you're into that, it's kind of cool. Like, it can be like, it's expensive. Don't get me wrong. And I don't do them very often. Like, I don't get one like every single month. I just do it like a couple times a year. Just when I want to refresh or get something new or whatever. And the upside of Stitch Fix is that you can put in like what you like or whatever, and you can either stick with what you like, or you can kind of let your stylist like dress you per se. And so that's what I do, because she picks things that I would not pick for myself. And that's really good. Otherwise, I would literally be in jeans and t-shirts all the time. And that doesn't always work, right? So I do like that. So, and I have loved everything she's ever picked for me. The only thing that has ever come up has been like sizing, so I default all my stuff to like larges, extra larges. Sometimes extra large is just too big, but it's easy. You just stick it in the bag, send it back, exchange it. It's super easy to do. So absolutely, if you're interested in that, you should check that out, because it is a lot of fun. And, it'll be a couple $100 for if you like buy the whole box, and you don't have to buy every outfit that they give you. Like, you can pick some things or whatever. But yeah, so it's nice. It's good quality stuff. So I do like it. And then I also like Madewell. That's another one too. I only own a couple of pieces from them, but I do like their high-rise like mom jeans. That's what they call them. They just fit my shape really well. So I did invest in a pair of those, and they're ridiculously expensive. But otherwise, I'm like an Old Navy Gap kind of a girl. Although I have not worn Gap, like bought new Gap stuff in a long time, because they've kind of changed the way that they size, and it's just the cut's weird or something. But anyway, that's not why I'm here. Okay, so I'm here to tell you about my Testout week. So as you guys know, 5 weeks ago I started, now it's like 6 weeks ago, I started following. something weird about that word this morning. Following the zone diet, which is old school CrossFit, like pre-macro counting. I'm still tracking. I have tracked now. It's been effectively 5 years at this point. I'm trying to get away from that. We're working on it. It's going to be a 2022 goal, is to stop tracking. So I started following the zone diet about 5 weeks ago. According to the scale, I have not really lost any weight, maybe like 2 pounds in 5 weeks. Like maybe it's more than that, 3 pounds. It's not a lot like on the scale. But was that a primary goal? No, more of a secondary goal. My primary goal was to figure out sort of meal timing, just some different foods around my training, because what was happening when I was training is I would be in the strength portion of the workout, be fine, and then get to the Metcon and just not have anything left in the tank, right? And when you're metabolic, doing metabolic conditioning, which is what Metcon stands for, I don't know if everyone knows that, which is like the fundamental of CrossFit is metabolic conditioning, right? And so when I would get to those workouts, like I would just be like, mother of God, like you get the spins, you kind of get the shakes, like different things start to happen physiologically, and you're just like, what is happening? And so really been focusing on meal timing and, seeing if this is something that I would like to do instead of counting macros, because you don't count macros, you count points. Hi, kitty. Hi, baby. Where are you? Hi. That's Kitty. He just woke up. We'll talk about Kitty in a little bit too. That'll be a good one to add into this vlog. So, back to what I was saying, like, I was really trying to fix that meal timing issue and just try to get through that, and then kind of evaluate whether or not the zone diet was something that I wanted to continue in lieu of counting macros. And so with the zone diet, if you're not familiar, you get blocks of points, sort of like the concept of Weight Watchers, but not really, throughout the day. And so every meal you get, like, you're supposed to pick a protein, a carb, veggie or starchy, and then a fat, right? And then you build your meals or whatever. So you can have like a 2-point snack, a 3-point meal, a 4-point meal, a 5-point meal. And the points is basically the serving. So if a serving of chicken is 1 ounce, right? Or a point of chicken, I should say, is 1 ounce. And you want to have a 4-point meal, you would have 4 servings of chicken or 4 ounces of chicken, 4 servings of your veggies, and then 4 servings of your fats, right? And it's not that you eat like 4 tablespoons of butter. Like there's very specific measurements of what a serving is, like what the point value is. So it's pretty easy to navigate, and you're not counting like the calories, you're not counting the fats, the carbs, the protein grams or whatever. But effectively, those points add up to macro. Obviously, you can figure out what your macronutrients are from that, and you just eat your points every day. And so I had like 17 points, which is, when depending on what I eat, can be as low as 1,100 calories. It can be as much as like 1,700 calories. So it just kind of depends on what foods you pick into, and what's going to make up those points, right? So like me, I eat a lot of egg whites, right? They're very low calories. So like when I eat that meal that I've made before, like 16 times for you guys, like the spinach or, the artichokes, the egg whites, and the cheese and whatever, that's actually only 279 calories. It's not a lot, right? So it's more like a snack, but it's really 4 points, right? So it's like, you just kind of figure it out. Anyway, the point is pretty easy to follow. Trying to evaluate if that's something that I might want to do going forward. I think that the 17 points is a little bit closer to my maintenance than it is to a deficit for me. And so I'm going to figure that out, right? We're going to figure that out. So, but anyway, so one of the things that happened really early on was that I started to feel much better in my workouts, which was like primo, chef's kiss, exactly what I was looking for, because it helps with strength training. And that's where we are right now. We are at the end of a strength cycle. And I didn't want to go into this cycle feeling like horseshit, because like, what am I here for? If I'm just going to have shitty lifts and I'm not getting results that I want, and my weights are not coming up, and then I'm mad, and then I'm upset, and then I want to quit CrossFit, and this whole, and then I spiral, right? So that happened. So goal number 1 achieved. Absolutely 100% achieved on the zone diet. Like I was able to, figure out my meals. Like I found that I wasn't so hyper focused on my food. I had a lot more options because when you count macros, it doesn't have to be this way. But for me personally, because I recognize now that I have a little OCD, right? And I'm not diagnosed, but I like routine. I like structure. I like predictability, like to the point though, where sometimes it interferes with like existing, if that makes sense. For example, like, and I think I've said this before, when I count macros, like I've tracked my food for every day for 5 years, and if a friend were to call me right now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my phone, I'm going to look at my Fitness Pal, and I'm going to see how much food I have left for the day. And how many macros do I have left for the day? Could I go out and eat with my friend based on the macros that are left in my Fitness Pal? That's not normal. Like, that's not healthy. I shouldn't say it's not normal. That's not the right word. It isn't healthy because you start to miss out on things because you're like, well, that doesn't fit in my macros today, right? And so with the zone diet, I find that I have a little bit more flexibility, like with the food that I choose, right? And you can do that with macros, but I just didn't do that because I got into this really what is a terrible habit of eating the same 5 foods all the time. So turkey, chicken, broccoli, jasmine rice or basmati rice, right? And then maybe green beans. Like that's it. I just rotate those foods all the time. They're safe, they're predictable. I know exactly what the macros are, but you kind of get stuck in that trap, right? And that's where I've been for years. And so this gave me kind of permission per se, because I'm also a rule follower. And so, the coach was like, here's your list of foods. Here's how you break out your meals. This 1 ounce of chicken is 1 point, 1 cup of broccoli is 1 point, And so I followed all that, and I was able to like find that I was very comfortable like eating different foods, and making recipes and meals and trying to make it work. And you guys have seen me cook, right? And I've done a couple of things that I normally would never have done because it's like, well, I'm not going to blow my 40 grams of carbs on some orzo pasta with tomatoes and spinach and basil, right? But the way the points are, I'm not counting those carbs, I'm counting it by the point. So a serving of orzo is like a half a cup. And I get 4 points. That's a shit ton of food, right? And so you know what I'm getting at. Anyway, so I found a lot of food freedom with that. This is the first time in my entire life that I did not gain weight over Thanksgiving. Which is a huge victory for me. I am not saying that to shame anyone or make anyone feel bad if you do, because you should enjoy yourself. You should enjoy your time with your family and your friends and all this stuff. And the food is amazing, and there's nothing like mashed potatoes and stuffing and all these things. But for me, what would happen is like, I'd be so strict, right? I get to Thanksgiving and it turns into a free-for-all. And then I feel like I wake up the next day and I'm starting over. I'm, 5 pounds heavier than I was a month ago. So I'm starting over, trying to get my body, like the inflammation out, the water weight out, like all these things. And this is the first year I did not have to start over. And I felt in control. I felt satisfied, like all the things, right, that you want to feel when you're eating on a new plan, right, or following a new process. Okay, so fast forward. So we just tested out. I had a rough week 2 weeks ago, and that's the week that I call it my week. It's the week that I ovulate, TMI. It's true though, like I was really struggling to like get the weight off the floor, like 250 pound deadlift, which is normally, that's well within my capacity. I couldn't get that bitch off the floor. And then I hated myself, even though I knew what was happening. So it was a rough week, like 2 weeks ago. Last week I opted to deload. There was not a program deload last week, and a deload means that we just take our heavy weights down, 65, 75%, 85%, like of your 1 rep max, or even less. Sometimes it's 50%. Sometimes you don't lift at all. It just depends on what your coach wants to do. Because we didn't have that formally programmed, I elected, hi buddy, it's okay. Oh, you want to go to Narnia? Okay, go to Narnia. Okay, go ahead, honey. He wants to go to Narnia. which is the attic. I think I've told you that before. Anyway, deload. We didn't have one. So I made my own, and I'm really glad I did. So this week we tested out 3 lifts: the 2 rep max deadlift, the 2 rep max front squat, and the 2 rep max power clean, which means you catch the bar above parallel, which I'm terrible at power cleaning. I hate it so much. I would rather clean all day long. Like, let my ass hit the grass, girl. Like, I'd rather do that all day long. And it's because I pull a little early in my clean. And so because I pull a little bit early, my elbows move really quickly. I have good fast elbows under the bar, so I can like quickly get underneath the bar in that squat. And my legs are strong. And so I don't mind catching 125 pounds on my shoulders and standing up. Like, I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. Anyway, deadlift. Da, 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 da. I wish I was good at editing, because I would edit the shit out of this and put some fun music in it. 282 pounds for 2 reps, and I still felt that maybe I had a little bit left in the tank. Meaning, if I would have had an additional 3 minutes left in our time that we were allotted to find that, I probably could have pulled 285. Probably not much more than that. And this means that, in theory, my single 1 rep max should be around 300 pounds right now. And to hit 300 pounds is like something that we all kind of chase. Like, you know, CrossFitters chase it. You call it the 300 pound club, right? You know, is when you start to hit those 300s, right? So really, really happy with that. I felt like I had so much energy. Like, my form was good. Like, you know, I mean, it was heavy, it was challenging, but like, I'm so pleased with that, you know. And like 6 weeks ago, I was like, oh, I'll be happy if I get like 250, you know, just because I just didn't feel like I had the energy. So I'm really happy with how kind of the nutrition change had kind of aligned, you know, right up with this strength cycle, and it went really well. My front squat, 185 pounds for 2 reps, which is almost my body weight. I weigh about 190. So really happy again with that. Like, I could not have asked for anything more. That was like, I was hoping for something close to body weight. And so I will take it. Could I have done another 5 pounds? Probably not. It was pretty gross. Like, I may or may not have threatened to sue everyone in the gym if they ever told anyone how shitty my form was. It was bad. But the weight went up, so I'll take it. And then my power clean last night, I have been stuck. Like I said, I hate power cleaning. I am not good at power cleaning. I would much rather clean, which is you like a full clean, right? You go under the bar, you're in a squat when you catch the bar in your catch position. You're not at parallel, so your butt's not above, you know, your knees, right? You know, or your butt is above your knees, I should say, when you catch in the power position. Anything above parallel counts. I have been stuck at about 110 pounds for weeks. And last night I got to 105, and then I went to 112. I did not want to sit at that 110 because I knew I could hit 110, and then it was gross, but I hit the 112 and we had plenty of time left. So I went to 115. I hit the 115, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this. I'm going to take it. I'm going to be done. To put that in comparison of my regular, my clean, I can clean very comfortably around 125, which is not a lot. Like, I know, you know, plenty of women who are, you know, much smaller than I am that clean, like Tio Toomey, for example, like 270 pounds. Like, but she's also a professional athlete. But, you know, I don't have a ton of upper body strength. I don't have a ton of power in that pull, right? In that, you know, like coming off the ground, like getting fully extended in that, you know, to do a power clean. Why? Because I pull early, and because my elbows are fast and I can get into a squat, like, it's just easier for me to clean. So something to work on. I am really, really happy with those results. This is hands down the best strength cycle I have had since 2019. And it's almost 2022. It has been a rough couple of years. And so understanding that I had my rotator cuff on my left arm, shoulder done, and my bicep tendinosis on my left side done in 2018, in June of 2018. So 2019 was also kind of a rebuilding year for me as well. But like, just to hit these numbers, man, I mean, I'm like, oh man. And I have the heaviest deadlift and the heaviest front squat of all the females in my box right now. And so, not that that means anything, but for a fat kid who was not an athlete, who was in the marching band, to like, to experience this is pretty powerful. And, you know, and yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So what's next? We will deload next week, and then we will start all over. I have decided to continue for now with the zone. So I'm not going to count macros. I'm going to do the points per se. I am going to talk to the person that I'm working with on my nutrition about adjusting this a little bit so I can get into a little bit of a deficit now that we're coming out of a strength cycle. You don't want to cut your food in a strength cycle. I mean, you can. And there's competing ideas as to whether or not you can lose body fat and get stronger at the same time. I'm in the camp of you can. It's harder, but you can definitely do it. The person I'm working with is also in that camp, and so we're aligned on our thought process there. But some people feel that you can't, that if you're going to cut weight, that you automatically just have to accept the fact that your numbers are going to go down. And that's true, right? And it's because your relationship with gravity goes down. Right? You know, so everybody talks about April Lauren and her 205 or 210 back squat. Hey, girl, get it, girl, okay? But the reason why she can squat that much is because she weighs 300 pounds. It's just because she's working against gravity, right? You know, and so for perspective, I weigh 190 pounds, and my 1 rep max back squat is around 240 pounds. And so she should be able to squat her body weight. And it's actually double her body weight, you know, like, and that's an athlete marker. Like, it's not that she has to go do it or you should do it or I should do it, right? But like, and people are, well, she's also squatting her own body weight and the weight. That's not how this works. So my back squat is 240. It's not 240 plus 190, right? April's is not 205, 210 plus 300 or 285 or whatever she weighs, right? You know, it's the 200, and she can squat that because she weighs that much, right? And so the heavier you are, the bigger your numbers are generally going to be because your relationship with gravity, right? Like, you have a stronger relationship with gravity than I do, right? So you should be able to put up those numbers, right? So just a little tidbit for you. Anyway, that's it about training. And let's talk about Kitty. So a couple weeks ago, Kitty started having like lots of boogers, like thick, like snot, like a 3-year-old. I just realized you can see my office from here, and it is an absolute shithole. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. My desk is a mess. I have like every drawer open too. I can see that. Anyway. I'll tell you about that too. So anyway, let's talk about Kitty. So a couple weeks ago, he started having like boogers, lots of boogers. It's like having a toddler, and he'd sneeze and there'd be boogers everywhere, just like snot, right? And so I called his oncologist and I said, you know, I think he might have a sinus infection. And so she called in a prescription this week for some amoxicillin. Thank God I was able to get it at Walgreens. I didn't have to go to the pet apothecary. They were able to just give me people amoxicillin. And they flavored it with like bubble gum. He's a cat. Like, I was like, oh, and the pharmacist was so cute, like super cute, attractive man. And he's like, bubble gum. I'm like, bubble gum? It's for the cat. Like, do we have something else? Like, you know, but that's okay. It's okay. And sure as shit, I started giving him some amoxicillin. I think it's upsetting his tummy. So I'm also giving him his, I think it's called metronidazole. Am I saying that right? I went to college for a long time. I don't think that's the right word, but it's, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm giving him his medication for his upset tummy, so he doesn't get dehydrated. And then I'm just doing 1 dose a day of the amoxicillin, and like literally by the next day, his snot went from yellow to clear. So he's still a little bit snotty, but it's clear. And he's sneezing a little bit more, but I think it's just his nose is drying out a little bit and stuff. So I do have the humidifier running for him and all of that fun stuff. And finally, about the office. So my office is also the second bedroom in my house, and I have a full-size bed in there, and just for like when company comes over. And I've decided that I'd like to turn that space more into office/storage, you know, just whatever. And I was going to get rid of the bed. And as you guys know, like, you can't really donate like mattresses and stuff, like obviously like bed bugs and all this stuff. And then with COVID, like, people aren't taking stuff, you know, you can't really do much, you know, with it. And so I found out that my village has recycling of household stuff like this. And so I have a frame which sits up off the floor. It's actually really cool. It sits up like, oh, I don't know, maybe like 12 or 14 inches. So you can store stuff under the bed, which is why I got it. And I actually got it at Walmart years ago for like $50, like jackpot. The mattress is actually from IKEA, and I've had it since I lived in Connecticut, which was now almost 15 years ago. And then there is a memory foam topper on top of it. And so I called a friend of mine who has an SUV, and I said, would you be willing to help me take this over to the recycling place? Like, it's like $17 and they'll recycle it for me. I thought that was a great price. Like, I was like, okay. And I felt bad because I just didn't know anybody who needed it. And then bingo, like 2 days ago, my friend who's going to help me recycle it texted me and said, I know someone who would get use from your bed. And it's her sister-in-law. And her sister-in-law, no joke, I think they have 7 or 8 kids. And so I'm guessing it's one of the older kids, like one of their older boys who would almost, I think, be a teenager now. And so they're going to come and take it in January on the 2nd. We had planned to take it to the recycling place on the 2nd. And she's like, I'll come get it on the 2nd. And so I get to give the bed away to someone who needs it. And I'm so happy. And then I'm going to throw in a set of sheets just because like I have, and someday I will show you. I collect vintage things. So like vintage Care Bears, vintage strawberry shortcake. I have a lot of vintage sheets for that bed, and I'm not willing to part with them. And so I'm not going to, but I do have some sheets that I picked up like at Walmart or Target. I'm going to let her have a set of those. And I did ask if she needed blankets because I think I have like extra blankets too for the full size bed, and I'd be happy to give her those too. So yay! Makes me super happy. Super happy. So, and then I have a trip to IKEA planned. Sorry, guys. After I get my bonus in February, March, and I'm gonna pick out some more furniture for the office, like shelves. And so I will maybe take some pictures and show you guys what we end up doing. There's a we. It's just me in the kitty. But that's it, guys. So had a great week of training. Feeling super good about my diet. Went out and walked this morning for an hour. I still have my hat on because I didn't want to take it off and deal with my hair. This is a hat from college, so I love it because it covers my ears, and then it has a fun little tassel on the top. And I'm sure people are like, oh, what's with that girl? And then I have matching choppers. So that's my winter stuff. But anyway, training is amazing. Diet's going really solid. Looking to fine tune that a little bit. I think 17 points is, like I said, a little bit closer to my maintenance. So maybe like a 15-point thing, which is, 3 meals and 2 snacks a day, whatever that looks like. Trying to get to like that 175 by February. It might be a little aggressive, but we're going to try to do it. And then get ready for the open, which is in February. Oh, in January, I'm also doing the RPM jump rope challenge, which is double unders. I do not do double unders. I cannot do them. I can, like, a little bit, but not. It's like 10,000 double unders in the month of January. So a bunch of people from my box are doing that. So I'm going to use that as an opportunity to hopefully get my double unders consistent and, have those down for the open. And, yeah, enjoy that process. And going home this week to see my mom. That's about it. Otherwise, I'm doing good. So I hope you guys are doing amazing. I hope you enjoy your Saturday. My birthday is on Tuesday this week. I will be 42 years old. I blinked and 20 years went by. And so if you're celebrating a birthday in the month of December, first, I do apologize for the fact that you get screwed out of presents. I've been screwed for 42 years. It's okay. We deal with it. And I hope you have a fantastic holiday season. Whatever it is you celebrate. The holidays can also be very stressful, so I recognize that this is not a happy time for everyone. It's a little bit weird for me this year myself with not having my dad. I was just in Walgreens buying Monsters, and I saw this like tin of cookies that I would have, like those Danish cookies, you know what I'm talking about? They're in a blue tin. Like, I always got those for my dad, and so I was like, I'm not buying cookies this year for my dad, so it's a bit weird. So, but please take care of yourself. I know that, like I said, it's not always a happy time for people. Family is stressful. Not everybody has a good relationship with their family, so make sure you put yourself in a good situation. You don't have to go anywhere if you don't want to. It's okay to tell people no if you don't want to go hang out with them. So anyway, Have a fantastic day. I will see you again soon. And bye-bye.